Is it wrong for a Christian to have a tattoo? The surprising answer will definitely shock you. So make sure you watch this video all the way to the end, so you only miss out on any important information. However, other Christians disagree with this view because they believe that tattoos are a form of self-expression and should not be prohibited. Many Christians believe that this verse prohibits Christians from getting tattooed. However, there are a few problems with this view. First, this verse was written in the Old Testament, and many Christians believe that the Old Testament laws are no longer binding on Christians today. Second, even if Christians believe that this verse still applies to them, there is some debate over what exactly the word tattoo means in this verse. First, there is no biblical basis to say that getting tattoos is a form of self-mutilation. There is no biblical basis to say that tatas are sinful. In fact, the Bible has a lot to say about tattoos, but it never once says that they are wrong. Christians should feel free to get tattoos if they want to, as long as they do so in a way that is respectful and reverent. In fact, tattoos were used in the Bible for a variety of purposes, including as a sign of identity, as a form of decoration, and even as a form of punishment. For example, in Genesis 34, the daughters of Jacob were tattooed as part of their mourning ritual for their sister Dinah. Second, just because something is considered sacred does not mean that it cannot be altered or changed. For example, the temple in Jerusalem was considered sacred, but it was destroyed and rebuilt several times. The same is true of the cross. It is considered sacred by Christians, but it has been depicted in a variety of ways throughout history. Just because something is considered sacred does not mean that it is off limits to humans. We are allowed to use sacred things for our own purposes, as long as we do so in a way that is respectful and reverent. Some scholars believe that the Hebrew word translated tattoo in this verse actually means the inking or the paint, which would include things like makeup. If that's the case, then this verse could be saying that it is wrong for Christians to paint or ink their bodies for the dead, but not necessarily that it's wrong to get tattooed. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Many Christians believe that tattoos are sinful because they fall under the category of body modification. In Leviticus 19:28, the Bible says, "Do not cut your bodies for the dead or tattoo yourselves with tattoos. I am the Lord." Another argument against Christians getting tattoos is that it's a form of idolatry. In Isaiah 53, the Bible says, "He was despised and rejected by men, a man of sorrows and acquainted with pain. And like one from whom men hide their face, he was despised, and we esteemed him not." Some argue that getting tattoos is a form of self-mutilation because it involves altering your body in a way that is permanent or semi. They also point to the fact that many tattoos are done in places that are considered sacred, such as the hands, the face, the chest, the neck, and the arms. These areas are often associated with things like power, authority, identity, sexuality, and worship. By getting tattoos in these areas, Christians are essentially taking something that is sacred and making it their own, which is a form of. In Deuteronomy 4:19, the Bible warns against making images for yourself in the form of anything in heaven above or on the earth below or in the waters beneath. Some argue that when someone gets a tattoo, they are placing an image on their body, which can lead to idolatry. However, this argument is not very strong because most tattoos are not images of people or gods. And even if they are, there is no biblical basis to say that having an image of someone or something on your body is inherently sinful. Perhaps the strongest argument against Christians getting tattoos is that it's a form of self. However, this argument is not without its problems. So is it wrong for a Christian to have a tattoo? The answer is no. I hope this video helped you better understand the church's position on tattoos.